Okay, we are now live, and thank you for joining us today on our Facebook Live broadcast of Cool Greens and Rockin Roots. I'm Joyce, your moderator. You are looking at Tammy Trimmer. She is our store manager and expert on vegetable gardening who will be leading our class today. And I'm going to come around here and start by just giving a quick introduction. Say hi to the camera. Oh, and say hi to Mary.
Hi, Mary. I hope you're with us. I know we got started a little bit late, but I appreciate you calling and asking.
And thanks to everybody who came out today in this crazy weather. We're all thawed out, I hope, from last week.
I hope everybody made it through all of this storm well. So we're going to be talking about Cool Greens and Rockin Roots. We're going to start by looking at what kinds of damage we experienced through all of this. I've got some examples in my garden. We started our demo garden a little bit early. As you can see, we've already got some cabbages, kale, onions, bok choy, and I had lettuce in it. The lettuce was mush after our freeze. But I can show y'all a little bit about, okay, we have this damage, now what do? We don't automatically just yank the plant out and start over. Like with my bok choy, I'm going to prune back leaves that are damaged because there's new stuff already coming out. So we should be able to get it to go ahead and go. We'll show you easy ways to make your own seed tapes, which is kind of cool. And since you have the little one with you, she'll really enjoy doing it. If you keep watching our weekly or bi-weekly classes, we're going to go from, okay, we're doing cool season seeds. We're going to do some radishes and carrots. You can do your kales, your cabbages, lettuces. And as our temperatures get warmer, we'll start doing other things. Later on, we'll do squash, we'll do tomatoes. This week, I'm just going to concentrate on all of the stuff that we put into our garden, because our garden is 3 times the size it was last year. Last year, we only had this little section here, and we grew for the store. We would grow a tomato plant, and we'd come out here, and we'd do all the little tomatoes, and employees would just pick them and eat them. So this year, we're going to make a little bit larger demonstration garden so that y'all can go along the trip with us. So everything that you're going to need in the way of soils, if you don't already have your garden up, to start with your garden will be down here. We're going to do, we're organic, so we always use organic soils. You've got regular garden soil. I like the Mayor Raised Bed Mix. It's a mixture of a lot of different organic matters. And when you have more than one organic matter, it just really feeds the plant better. For us to do this, we started with the Mayor Raised Bed. I put Rejuvenate in it because Rejuvenate adds all kinds of, am I not getting everybody? I'm sorry. Adds all kinds of minerals and nutrients and that, and it just revitalizes our raised beds that we already have. It gives them all of the stuff that they happen to use up the year before. So it's very important to revitalize those gardens every year. And this is already set up to do that. It's going to revitalize, and even if you're gardening in the ground, you still need to add new nutrients to it. So that's a really good one. Texas green sand, it's minerals, lots of minerals for our gardening, and it does really well. You can use it on your vegetable gardens, you use it on your lawns. You can use it anywhere. It just really adds lots of minerals and nutrients that the green stuff needs. Composted cotton burr adds just another layer of the organic matter that's really going to get you off to a good start. So these are the different soils that you're going to want to put in. I just dumped bags and then mixed it up with a pitchfork and mixed it as well as I could. Since we're on concrete, you know, you can't, it doesn't work real well, but you can get it mixed up. So if you've got your bed started and you're ready to start actually planting, you can either start with starters that are already up and growing, but we still have time to do seeds. You can do seeds for your radishes, for carrots, for beets, for any of your lettuces, cabbage. You still got enough time. It's early enough in the season that you can do seeds. And in doing seeds, it's very difficult with, like radish seeds are very, very tiny. And so you try to put a string of radish beads down in a hole, it can get you're thinning more than you're actually growing. So one of the things that I have learned is you can take just real easy streamer, and you take this streamer and you measure out how long you want your piece of tape. Once you get it measured out, you'll mix up a slurry of just cornstarch. Everybody has cornstarch. Cornstarch and water. Mix it up to where it's glue consistency, about 50-50. Tablespoon of cornstarch, tablespoon of water. You get that. You come down through here, you put you a little dot and measure it apart. So if you want your carrots to be 6 inches apart, every 6 inches you'll put a dot of glue or a dot of cornstarch. I'm sorry. Then you can take and you can put your little seeds down, fold your tape over, let it dry. If you're not ready to plant that day, roll it up, put it aside. When you get ready to go out and plant, you just make your little row, put your tape down, cover it up. You're done. It takes all the thinning out of it. And you can do that with anything, especially the little fine. I'm sorry. The little fine things. Lettuce seeds are very, very fine. Radish seeds are very fine. Carrot seeds are very little. You know, you wouldn't want to do it with, say, your green beans or peas, because you can do those. But those little bitty fine ones, it's really hard to do. And you can get the little ones started with you, and they'll have a ball. You'll have more tape than you got seeds. And it's all organic. There's nothing to worry about. Cornstarch, we use it all the time in cooking, so it's not going to hurt us. Radishes usually will come up, and carrots. All of these guys are going to emerge in about 7 to 10 days. Your radish seed, if you like these guys here, if you look on the back of it, it will tell you. I am so sorry. It'll tell you that it matures in 21 days. So if you'll take and put your tape down, and then 4 or 5 days later, or even a week later, you could put another tape down, and you can have your radishes in increments to where you have lots of different harvest times. And that you can do that with radishes. You can do it with carrots. Will you give me a water? You can do that with your radishes, your carrots, anything, beets. If you do that, then you'll have a longer actual harvest time. Let's see, where do we want to go from here? Did anybody have stuff already in the garden when the snow came?
Yes.
Anybody had damage?
Yes.
And what kind of damage are we having?
Wilt.
Wilt?
Yeah.
The whole plant?
Yeah.
Like down to the ground?
Yeah.
Okay, the ones that went down to the ground, we'll go ahead and take those out and replace them. Thank you. I don't know what it is. We'll go ahead and take those out and replace them. But if you look at our garden, you can see our bok choy has freeze damage on the leaves. I'm going to take him and I'm just going to clip it all the way back to the parent plant, take those leaves off, and then let those new leaves have some space. And I'm so sorry. We have a dog that's in class, and the dog seemed to think that they needed the handout. He's very smart. So, oh.
My Swiss chard turned to mud. Can I just cut that off the ground?
You can cut it off to the ground and see if it comes back. If it's too mushy, it probably has some root damage too. Swiss chard is another one of those that you should be able to get up and going really, really quickly. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
How long do you have to let your bed sit before you plant?
Say that one more time.
How long do you have to let the bed sit before you plant?
Since she wants to know how long you have to let the bed sit before you plant. Really, we're using all organics. It does not, you can plant the same day that you put that bed in. The one thing that I did do is when I did this, oh, I don't know what that tickle is. It's like some kind of allergy thing.
It's allergy drainage.
It hadn't been doing that. One of the things that I did do with this is we put it in, I watered it for 3 or 4 days straight so that it would settle, and then added more to it, because it will, you know, everything's nice and fluffy, and when it will go ahead and settle. But you can also, I mean, you can water it, stomp the thing in, water it, stomp it in. So you can hurry the process up if you just really want to plant the day that you make it. Yes, ma'am. Do I use the same material that I use in my containers?
Yeah, like instead of the raised, when you're using the raised bed, can you use when you're doing just more container?
That was one. You can use anything. You know, use your imagination on what you're going to use for your raised bed. You do not have to use wood. I mean, if you've got cinder blocks, I've seen some really cute cinder block raised gardens. And what's really cool about them is you can put your cinder blocks, have the middle thing, then you've got a ledge to sit on and tend. Or you can actually take and grow your herbs and stuff in the little pockets. Or maybe your companion planting that you do your marigolds to keep spider mite and stuff away. You could use those in the holes. It's all, I like to reuse whatever I can find. And you can do some really good things. My son and daughter-in-law used tractor tires. And they went and got a bunch of used big tractor tires, and they did their gardens in tractor tires. And it worked great. So, you know, it's just what you want to do and how you want to look, what it looks like, that kind of stuff. So have fun with it. That's the biggest thing, is we're all stuck at home. Well, I'm not going to say stuck at home, because I think it's brought us back to nature, and it's brought us back to enjoying our world. And you need to make it what you want, not what people think it should be. So I'm not going to tell you you have to use cedar, you have to do this. Use what you got. I mean, there's some cute ideas out there. Go to Pinterest. They've got some darling ideas out there. The biggest,
cinder blocks will last forever.
exactly.
I had the other beds, and
Yes, ma'am.
about 3 years they're bulging out, they're falling apart. So I put cinder blocks in, and then I plant like zinnias or something for color
Yeah.
around it, so that for the neighbors it doesn't look so yucky.
So yucky. Yeah, and I think it's a great idea. And really, cinder blocks are not that expensive, you know. And if you decide that, okay, this side of the bed only needs to be 2 high, but I want to grow potatoes over here, so I'm going to make it 3 high, so that you can keep raising that potato height. Yeah, really cool.
Have we already talked about what's planted over there?
We've started talking about it, but I told them that I was going to show them how that I'm going to prune back your bok choy so that we can try to save it. So one of the other things that I was going to show y'all, and with the little one, it'll be nice, is I'm stuck. Thank you. Over here, you can see, and all I did was reuse growing pots, you know, and we all buy stuff and have growing pots and we don't know what to do with them. I'm just reusing 5-gallon growing pots. I've put soil in them, and my wonderful store owner actually has bamboo growing in her backyard. And so she cut me bamboo canes. It's bamboo canes and reused pots, and we're going to make a pea and green bean teepee. And you can do this with your kids. It saves space. You're not using your space up with your raised beds or your garden because it's going to go up. I'm going to do both peas and beans. Your peas are going to stop producing about the time that your green beans are starting to produce. All of your peas are a little bit cooler season, and when it starts getting warm, they stop producing. And so after they get to growing and get up, you're going to have this wonderful little secluded area, and then the peas will grow or the beans will grow to where it's really simple to harvest. Instead of being down on the ground trying to pull all of the peas and that, you've got them up in the air and you can just harvest them as you're standing there. Yes, ma'am. That would be great for cucumbers. It would be great for our any of our squashes. You could try. You're going to have to hold the weight, but you could even do, say, cantaloupe. Now, once the cantaloupe gets up there and starts getting a little heavier, you can use any kind of like nylon hose, pantyhose, the little grape bags that you get from the store. Anything like that you can put around the fruit and then tie it to there, and that way the weight doesn't make the fruit fall off. Yes, ma'am.
On your peas, once they start producing, could you then put cucumber seeds in that same pot?
Yes, ma'am.
So that
Yes, ma'am.
peas
Neither one of them are going to choke each other out. So I think that you would have a really good, you would never lose the look of the teepee because, you know, the next thing is going to be crawling up and taking over. So you could do peas first and then put your cucumber seeds in, do your cucumbers, do your green beans. It is a big space saver.
Can we
Yes,
tell
ma'am.
people real quick how we wrap that?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
The only thing to use for climbers also are cattle panels.
Is what?
Cattle panels.
Cattle panels. Okay.
You know, do an arm, and that way you don't have to bend down to pick your stuff. Your stuff grows on the panel, so you just pick.
Oh, that's a really good idea because most cattle panels are kind of flimsy.
Yes.
So you can make that arch really easy. Yes. I'll show you with the Where did my string go?
Right here.
With this guy, I'm stuck. This is going to be a horrible thing because I've coughed in this thing over and over and over.
That's okay. Squirt it with disinfectant.
No, I mean the sound on it.
Oh.
Okay, we need to come this way a little bit. I'm stuck. So I was going to show y'all with this. It does take 2 people because one person has to actually be holding all of these together. All I did was take... What am I allergic to? All I did was take my string. I tied it to the first pole. And you can see I went around and around, but before I started going around and around, I weaved in and out around each one of these poles. And then we tied really, really tight here. And then I went down, and you can see the string go down. This is just to enable all of the peas and beans and that to have something else to climb to, not just the pole. And so you'll have solid walls. But it's really easy to take the string. Once you do this, just go around and then go to the next pole. I left a little opening so any of the kids that come to visit can come in and get a bean. But, and with that, I mean, all of it is what you've got at the house. I mean, it doesn't have to be grower's twine. It could be yarn.
And
So.
if you need bamboo, I'll give you my phone number.
But you got to harvest your own. She does have a lot of it. We can go back over there.
Okay.
What does it take to cut it down? Is it real hard to
A
cut?
machete.
It is difficult to cut. It's one of those things that once you get bamboo started, you wish you didn't. Because there's no way of getting rid of it once you have it.
Mary Lou on Facebook has a question about the seed tape.
Yes, ma'am.
She says, was the tape for seeds made with toilet paper? She apologizes for coming in late.
You could use toilet paper. What I'm using is the what is this stuff called? Crepe paper. I'm using crepe paper. But anything really biodegradable, crepe paper breaks down really quick. Toilet paper would be another thing that would break down really quick, and it's something that you already have in the house, hopefully. But so it works really well. The other thing is just making sure that you make your slurry of cornstarch and water. So, is there any more questions yet? No? Hi. Y'all doing okay? Good. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Your lettuce seed tape, how many seeds would you put like at each 5?
In each little, I would probably put 4 or 5 little seeds in each drop because most of your lettuces, they want to grow in clumps anyway. So, I mean, I wouldn't worry about trying to get one little lettuce in each spot. And your lettuces, I would probably put about 6 inches apart because they will kind of fill out. Radishes, radishes only get about 1 inch. You could probably put a seed or 2 every inch. I was thinking I'm going to try and just make all of my little dots and take my seeds and pour them on top and then lift it up, and whatever doesn't stick is what goes back in the package. Yes, ma'am.
Radishes.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think I know what happened. I planted them and then I thinned them out, but for some reason they wouldn't get plump.
Sorry, it finally started.
Yeah.
I must have talked too long.
They won't get plump. They just grow Is it because the soil's not?
They're like a finger
Yeah.
instead of a fat.
Or they're
Do you know what type of radish you actually planted?
no, but the picture had red.
You know, different radishes grow different ways. So a breakfast radish is going to be a little bit a longer guy. This one is a cherry bell, so it's going to be more rounded. One of the things is if the soil is too compacted, it's not going to have the ability. And the other thing is with all of our veggies and stuff, is we need to be able to make sure we are very consistent with our watering. If they dry out and then get watered and dry out, you're not going to have the production that you have if it has a consistent watering. Did it stop?
Yeah.
So I suggest that, you know, you make sure that you get on a really good watering schedule. You will have to watch Mother Nature because she likes to overwater for us sometimes. But consistency in watering has a lot to do with fruit and veggie production. So that, and they do not like compacted soil. Are you doing raised beds or are you doing raised beds? I would just take and add a lot more fluff to it. The cotton burr works really, really well with adding. Organic compost would work really well just to lighten up to where it's not as compacted for you. Anything? Yes, ma'am.
What other companion plants would you suggest other than like the marigolds or zinnias or something as far as like to promote pollinators?
Okay. She wants to know about companion planting other than marigolds. You can use anything that's going to attract a bee. I like using African blue basil. It works great. The bees love it. You can use the basil. You don't have to use African blue. Any basil works.
Borage works great.
What?
Borage.
Forage?
Borage. B-O-R-A-G-E.
Oh, borage. I have a problem growing it.
Oh, I don't.
You don't?
No, it's and it reseeds, and I've got it coming up everywhere.
Okay. Borage is an absolute awesome herb that the bees love. Has the most beautiful blue, true blue blossom. And you don't get a whole lot of true blue blossoms. But it works really, she's saying it works really, really well for her. Full sun, that's another thing about our gardens, is we need to make sure that they're getting about 6 to 8 hours of full sun. A lot of times we fail just because we don't realize that we haven't gotten enough sunlight on them. I like to, you know, like we're talking about gardening and that. I have lots of trees. And so I garden in pots just because I can chase the sun. Because at different times of the year, this one's shaded, this one's not, and I can move it to wherever I need it. But we have to have that full sunlight.
Territorial bees love that borage.
They do?
Oh yeah, and they won't sting you because they don't make honey.
Oh,
I can go out there and be working right around them, and they're just flying.
and flying all over the place.
Are you talking about mason bees?
Mason bees?
I don't know. I always just call them territorial bees. They're non-stinging and they don't make honey.
Then it must be the mason bees. And that's another thing that we're going to talk about in this series, is we're going to talk about making sure that you're inviting your bees in, your pollinators in, your wildlife in, because our wildlife does a lot for gardening. You have to have your pollinators. And so we're going to garden for our pollinators also. And we'll do that part in one of these series. Now next week we're going to talk about potatoes. We're going to talk about onions, which my onions are already in, but we'll talk about them. And we're going, what was the other thing we were talking about next week? Onions, potatoes. Garlic. Yes, because you still have time to plant garlic. You know, you can plant in the fall, you can plant in the spring. And so you still have time for planting garlic this year. So we'll talk about those 3 things next week. And then any questions that y'all have about your gardens, take pictures. Bring me pictures. You know, after we do a class or before we do the class, you can show me, okay, this is what's happening. What do I need to do? Or, I mean, because we're doing the demo garden, when I have problems, I'm going to say, look at this. This is what's happening to me right now. This is what we're trying. Because it is, I mean, we're all learning together. So we'll all take steps. And just like our wonderful guest, what's your name? Michelle. Michelle telling us borage is a really good pollinator and really easy to grow. I did not know that because I figure out how to kill mine. Might be because I don't have enough sun. But it's something to, you know, we're going to all learn from each other on this. Yes, ma'am.
Makes a huge clump, just like lamb's hair does.
Oh, awesome.
So I know you said you were going to talk about onions and potatoes next week.
Yes, ma'am.
So we have our onion slips and our potatoes at home now.
Yes.
We have not planted them yet.
Okay.
Should we wait until after?
You can go ahead. I mean, did you get one of our handouts that tells you how to cut the potato and dry it and
I don't think so.
and that kind of stuff?
We just bought the stuff. But we
You
didn't
just bought
get
the stuff?
handout, yeah.
We do have handouts that you can go ahead and do it now if you want, or wait until next week, and then we'll talk about it, and you can start then.
Okay.
It's just up to you.
I didn't know
If you want to
rain
get
or not
ready,
rain and stuff.
yeah. If you want to get ready, I mean, you can go ahead 2 or 3 days, you know, like Wednesday, Thursday, you can go ahead and do your cut and dust it with dusting sulfur. The potatoes. Make sure each potato has over a 1/2 inch of potato. Make sure each cut, and make sure each one has over 2 eyes, or at least 2 eyes in it. Okay? But that's if you want to start early. If not, then we're going to be demonstrating and showing and doing next week.
Cool.
All right, everybody. Thanks for coming. I do appreciate it. And get questions ready for next week. Okay? Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.